China is in the news once again after announcing its crackdown on Bitcoin mining and trading activities within the republic. This narrative has been present in the crypto space for many years, but no one has definitively answered why until now. In this video, it's exactly what I look to examine as I ask the question, what is the true end game for China's attack on Bitcoin mining? Stay tuned.
This Bitcoin mine in Wenatchee, Washington State. And I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but it just struck me when I walked into this room with 1,800 servers just humming at full pace. It was extraordinary to see visually.
Was it like a warehouse?
It was a warehouse. Yeah, it was a warehouse. Just filled
Not
with
underground.
No, not underground.
That's
no, but extremely close to a substation.
Welcome back to another episode of your Digit Hustle News. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about Bitcoin mining because this situation, to me, is very important. All right. When you're dealing with one of the world's largest digital assets, and it comes to the mining of which, and there's controversy around that, I feel like that is information that we need to pay attention to. So, when stories like this of China kicking out more than half of the world's Bitcoin miners, and a lot of them could be headed to Texas, it's worth taking a look at. So in this video, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the information from this headline, and I'm also going to paint a picture of the global situation when it comes to mining, because I have found some footage. As a matter of fact, we're going to go inside one of these Bitcoin mines. So stay tuned for the rest of the video so you don't miss that. But let's get into the details of the story. Now, China has long been home to more than half the world's Bitcoin miners, but now Beijing wants them out ASAP. In May, the government called for a severe crackdown on Bitcoin mining and trading, setting off what's being dubbed in crypto circles as the Great Mining Migration. This exodus is underway now, and it could be a game changer for Texas. Now, mining is the energy-intensive process which both creates new coins and maintains a log of all transactions of existing digital tokens. So, without mining, essentially, guys, there would be no Bitcoin. Mining is the veins of the Bitcoin system, if you will. But despite a lack of reserves that caused days-long blackouts last winter, Texas often has some of the world's lowest energy prices, and its share of renewables is growing over time, with 20% of its power coming from wind as of 2019. It has a deregulated power grid that lets customers choose between power providers, and more importantly, its political leaders are very pro-crypto. Dream conditions for a miner looking for a kind, welcome, and cheap energy sources. Now, according to Brandon Arvanganji, previously a security engineer for the Gemini crypto exchange, he says, you're going to see a dramatic shift in the next few months. We have governors like Greg Abbott in Texas who are promoting mining. It is going to become a real industry in the United States. Now, as far as China's dominance goes, 2021 data for global distribution of mining power is not yet available, but past estimates have shown that 65% to 75% of the world's Bitcoin mining happen in China, mostly in 4 specific provinces: Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia, Sichuan, and Yunnan, China. Now, Sichuan and Yunnan, hydropower makes them renewable energy meccas, while Xinjiang and Inner Mongolia are home to China's coal plants. Now, the drawdown in miners has already begun in Inner Mongolia. After failing to meet Beijing's climate targets, province leaders decided to give Bitcoin miners 2 months to clear up, explicitly blaming its energy misses on crypto mines. Now, One thing to take note of, okay? And this is the picture that's going to start being painted as we get deeper into this story. China has an energy agenda, even stronger than the one that's in the United States, okay? This was set in place back in 2015, 2016. As a matter of fact, earlier this year, if you guys don't know, we had an event called Davos, where it was a consortium of global leaders, politicians, intellectuals, things of that nature. They come together and they had this global conference where they discussed the future agendas for each country, nation, what have you. China was very vocal about their energy agenda. Okay. Now, that is really the meat and potatoes of this situation. The reason why China is cracking down on Bitcoin mining has nothing to do with truly Bitcoin's threat to their monetary stature, because they control all the mining. What this is a threat to their agenda. China's a very goal-oriented group of people, okay? They are very goal-driven, have been for thousands of years. So when they say they're going to do something, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the main reason why they're attacking Bitcoin mining has to do with their energy agenda. Now, let's get into some more details because it's going to paint the picture a little bit more vividly. Now, Castle Island Ventures founding partner Nick Carter says that while it's not totally clear how China will handle the next steps, a phased rollout is likely. It seems like we're going from policy statement to actual implementation in relatively short order, he says. The way this exodus is measured is by looking at hash rate, an industry term used to describe the computing power of all miners in the Bitcoin network. Given the drop in hash rate, it appears likely that installations are being turned off throughout the country. He continued, who also thinks that probably 50 to 60% of Bitcoin's entire hash rate will ultimately leave China. Now, based on the pieces that I've gathered, that specific piece I don't think will be true, because as we'll get to, it's more so China is trying to centralize their mining process. Okay. Now, although China's announcement hasn't been cemented in policy, which it has actually, perfect time to show you guys this. Okay. This is from the People's Republic of China. Okay. And thanks to the power of technology, we can translate this page. Okay. Now, this was 5/21, May 21st, straight from the China government network. Now, the specific sentence that drove everyone crazy was the second decree, which was to resolutely prevent and control financial risk, adhere to bottom line thinking, strengthen the comprehensive scanning and early warning of financial risk, promote the reform of small and medium-sized financial institutions, focus on reducing credit risk, strengthen the supervision of platform enterprises, financial activities, crack down on Bitcoin mining and trading behavior, and resolutely prevent the transmission of individual risks to the social field. Now, that was the sentence that sent shockwaves through the media. But if you go back up a little bit to the first decree, which says, one is to further serve the real economy. A prudent monetary policy must be flexible, precise, reasonable, and appropriate. Continue to implement policy tools that directly reach the real economy, enhance vitality of micro subjects, stabilize enterprises, and ensure employment. And vigorously support the deployment of inclusive small and micro businesses, rural revitalization, manufacturing, technological innovation, and green transformation. This is an official government document, guys. So no jokes. Okay. This is their agenda. It's their game plan. Right? A lot of people will tell you that it's more so a money issue. It's not a money issue. It's an environmental issue. Like I've been telling you guys all year on this channel, the agenda, the global consensus, the global agenda is to get us more into this greener world, which honestly, I'm all for. But at the same time, the means that we are going about doing it in certain circles may not be, the holiest, but can't do anything about that. Now, the next thing that pulled me in about this was the discussion in the industry from mining companies and their subsidiaries when they talk about what's happening. Now, although China's announcement hasn't been cemented into policy, that isn't stopping miners like Alejandro de la Torre from cutting their losses and making an exit. He was quoted as saying, "We don't want to face every single year some sort of new ban coming in China. So we're trying to diversify our global mining hash rate, and that's why we are moving to the United States and Canada." Now, one of Bitcoin's greatest features is that it's totally location agnostic. Miners only require an internet connection, unlike other industries that must be relatively close to their end users. Now, he says, this is a quote from Steve Barbour, founder of Upstream, and he mentions a very key feature about Bitcoin that people often overlook by saying the cool thing about Bitcoin is that it's underappreciated by a lot of the naysayers is that it's a portable market. You can bring it right to the source of your energy. So they're taking advantage of the fact that Bitcoin is truly a global network. Okay. And for so long, so much of that global network, it was being driven by a central region. Okay. That's changing. All right. Now, the narrative for this year is that Bitcoin is touching six figures. And the more information I look up, the more research I do, the more I see as to how it would happen. Now, where are the miners going? Because miners at scale compete in a low margin industry where their only variable cost is typically energy, they are incentivized to migrate to the world's cheapest sources of power. Every Western mining host I know has had their phones ringing off the hook, said Nick Carter. Chinese miners or miners that were domiciled in China are looking towards Central Asia, Eastern Europe, the US, and Northern Europe. One likely destination is China's next door neighbor, Kazakhstan. Now, this is interesting because part of that little highlight reel that I'm going to put at the end of this is an exclusive clip from an actual mine located there's an area, it's right outside the Chinese border. Okay. Can't recall exactly which country at the moment. Don't want to be inaccurate, but you stick around towards the end and you'll see that, guys. Okay. There's a whole deeper picture going on with this mining thing, trust and believe. But one likely destination is China's next door neighbor, Kazakhstan. The country's coal mines provide a cheap and abundant energy supply. It also helps that Kazakhstan has more lax attitude about building, which bodes well for miners who need to construct physical installations in a relatively short period of time. Now, the owner of Zive, a company that provides hosting services to international miners, Zive also sells specialized equipment needed for mining. Their owner says that he stopped counting the number of Chinese miners who have called him about relocation options, ranging from operations with 15 rigs to thousands of them. One miner told us, and this is a key point too, this is how I came to the conclusion that they're not stopping mining in general. They're controlling it. Now, according to the owner, he says, one miner told us that only government electricity plants have restricted mining. and private ones will continue to service miners. But most of the electricity is generated by government power plants, so miners will have to move. That makes them uncertain and desperate to find other locations. So, what that shows us is that what's happening over there is that the demand for government Bitcoin mining facilities is probably under stress, okay? Because they're really trying to, and this is where the financial aspect comes into play. They really want to push this digital yuan forward. And I do not see them having any trading pairs against BTC. They're not looking forward to doing that. They want to keep Bitcoin in a small pocket. China does, okay? Because they want to be able to regulate it. The digital yuan is the equivalent of their dollar, hedging against that. The digital yuan is China's protection against Bitcoin. Okay. That's the truth of the matter right there. Now, whether Kazakhstan is a designation or simply a stopover on a longer migration west remains to be seen. Arvaganji is bullish on North America and thinks the hash rate there will grow over the next few months. Texas not only has the cheapest electricity in the United States, but some of the cheapest in the globe. He says it's also very easy to start up a mining company. If you have about $30 to $40 million, you too can become a premier miner in the United States. Now, as we all know, Wyoming also trended towards being pro-Bitcoin and could be another mining destination, according to Arvaganji. There are, however, a few major limitations to the U.S. becoming a global mining destination. Now, zooming out a little bit, in some agricultural news, there's been a lot of land being bought up by a specific individual in the rural areas of the United States, the flatlands, the open plains. Okay? Certain individual has just become one of the biggest landowners in the United States. And he just so happens to be building a renewable energy plant on some of that land. You Google it. I'm not going to mention any names, but he's kind of big, not only on this channel, but in the world, Microsoft. But the move logistics may also prove difficult because there's a shipping container shortage thanks to the windfalls of the pandemic. But perhaps the biggest question is the reliability of the Texas power grid. A storm that devastated large swaths of the state in 2021 has reignited a debate over whether Texas should winter-proof its systems, a potentially costly project that might affect Texas or other fees for those looking to tap into the state's power grid. There's no need for Texas to winterize. Guys, if you're tuning in from Texas, that was a freak accident. Somebody pressed a button somewhere, spilled some coffee. I don't think winterization for Texas is needed. However, Bitcoin mining in Texas is a very interesting prospect. Okay. Now, in closing, I'm going to wrap this up a bit before this gets too long, because I want to show you guys these highlight reels, give you a picture of what could happen over the next few months, second half of the year. Okay. Now, for the time being, there isn't much mining capacity worldwide that is ready to absorb the Chinese miner historic. While they scramble to find a new home, we could see hash rate stay offline. In practice, that would mean all the remaining miners are more profitable for a period of time. Having more geographic dispersion would even out the global balance of power, and it would also reduce the ability of any one sovereign nation to co-opt or control the network. We may also see special crypto economic zones popping up in a few months. He's quoted as saying, "You'll see jurisdictions adopting a very favorable stance and creating the equivalent of special zones to encourage miners to host locally." We're seeing it at the state level here, and you're also going to see it at the country level. You might even see subsidized electricity for mining. So the scenarios and the narratives that are all coming together, coming into place with the environment and redistribution of land ownership in the United States. That's the best way I could put it, because the pandemic drove the prices of property values way down. A lot of people had to move. A lot of people had to get, move from their homes. Farms were definitely targeted during this pandemic. And most people don't know that. And they wouldn't think that because a farm is not very occupied. But see, under the guise of darkness, they attacked a lot of farmers, forcing them to change their growing habits and things that they do in order to meet certain mandates and, get certain incentives. That also happened. So, with the country reallocating land, Bitcoin mining being redistributed across the country, and one of the most popular places is mainland United States. I'm just saying we can prepare to see Bitcoin mining facilities almost as common as we see auto plants over the next few months, if not the next couple of years. So, yeah, it's deep, guys. It's deep. But before this gets any longer, guys, I want to get to these highlight clips so you can see. Now, the one I'm going to start with, just to show you how big this is and how China is really coming at it with this mining. I'm going to show you a clip of one of the largest mining facilities in the world, responsible for 11% of the Bitcoin hash rate. Okay. And then after that, there's going to be a clip of one of the smaller mining operations. And this thing kind of looks like an underground bootlegger facility. The images that follow are quite interesting to see. So I would encourage you to stick around. But as far as this goes, I'm going to wrap this up here, guys. I want to thank you for coming back to the channel. As always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more crypto adoption content. You can always get down at me in the comments section, and Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. All those links are down in the description. But with all that being said, guys, have a great day. Have a prosperous day. Most importantly, make that money. I'll see you in the next video.
Founded in early 2014, BTC.top is the earliest and the largest integrated mining group. The corporation owns more than 500,000 Bitcoin miners, various mining pools, including BTC.top mining pool. It controls about 11% of hash rate of the whole network. In 2019, the daily average hash rate has reached 6,500 petahash. The annual output is about 65,000 bitcoins. BTC.top has more than 10 data centers across the world. This farm is now the largest and the most technically advanced facility in China. The abundant hydropower resource provides a stable and low-cost renewable energy. 250,000 kilowatt electrical load ensures the power supply of this mining farm. More than 100,000 mining machines have been running here, without interruption, at least for 15,000 hours since the inception of the data center. A seasoned maintenance team protects every single machine carefully. Complete surveillance system is able to detect miners' fault at the first time. Hundreds of engineers are available around the clock to solve faults, repair damaged machines, to ensure the steady running of miners at 24 hours per day and 7 days per week. The facility employs reliable air cooling and water cooling systems, utilizes advanced low and high voltage installations to ensure that the voltage remains constant. Indoor temperature is maintained within the range of 50 to 35 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is below 65%, keeping maximum efficiency of the mining machines. During its 5 years of experience, BTC.top has accumulated rich practical experience and gained a good reputation. Its business covers miner purchasing, miner facilities operation and maintenance, mining pool operation, joint mining program, cloud mining, and other one-stop crypto mining solutions. Visit btc.top and take the first step towards mining the world's leading cryptocurrency.
You look at the camera, it makes you look a bit like like you're about to blood.
Okay. We've surrendered our phones. We don't know where we are. You're protecting your identity. Why are you taking these precautions today?
They shut down some mining farms in Mongolia already.
He made us hand our phones over to someone who was waiting. We got in a different car and he took us to the location.
It's better to keep it low.
He said don't stay the night at a hotel because when you check into a hotel in China it flags it to the police. Does the government know about this farm?
Not right now.
Bitcoin is a digital currency, but this is where the very real process of mining it happens.
Welcome to my mining farm. Wow. This is my Bitcoin mining farm.
There's one Bitcoin miner who, when we had arranged to go there that week in Mongolia, the province said they were going to ban Bitcoin mining. So he cancelled the interview because he didn't want to be spotted by the authorities. We started looking at this story because of Elon Musk. He was tweeting about Bitcoin. We've always known it's an energy-intensive business. The electricity consumed by the Bitcoin network in China alone in 1 year could be used to power all the tea kettles to boil water in the UK for nearly 20 years. Should people be worried about the environmental impacts of Bitcoin?
Our banking system consumes maybe 100 times more than Bitcoin. So if we worry about just Bitcoin consume those powers, why don't we worry about our banking system?
Bitcoin mining requires a huge amount of energy. That's why authorities in the province of Inner Mongolia have banned operations like this to meet energy consumption targets. Climate change is viewed a bit differently in China than it is in the West. As people will say, this is the government's thing they need to fix. What you don't have is the idea of extinction rebellion. That is just not possible in China. You don't have a Greta Thunberg. In fact, they did have a Greta Thunberg, and she managed, a few days protesting out her school before that was wrapped up very, very quickly. It's not something you can go and protest about here, and I think that sort of kills some of the conversation amongst normal people because they know it could be a sensitive topic, and it's better to leave that to the government.
2万台机器，1万台机器，24小时不停的运转，就这一天只能挖2个币出来。这个比特币耗电量特别大，这个矿机的耗电量特别大，它一天要消耗大概7000美金的电。 这里面特别的冷，因为这风扇一直在吹。声音也很吵啊。 啊，太冷了。那边还在扩建，目前又新增了1万台机器，到时候就是2万台机器，一天可以挖4颗比特币。